All right, good morning. Good morning. Tap in. We're waiting for people to join us this morning. First, I would like to say if you would like to comment on the stream, you need to give StreamYard permission to access your name and picture. Send them to Stream. We're going to send you to StreamYard.com/Facebook. If they grant access, all future comments will include their name and picture on StreamYard. Good morning, Mr. Eric.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Oh, okay. This is pretty. I kind of like it. This is pretty slick.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into it. Well, for starters, hi, my name is Cole Tanner. I am a Kansas City native, an entrepreneur, a wife, a mother, and a community builder that co-facilitates our Royal Cohesive Network with my 11-year-old son, Madden Tanner, also known as Royal Blue. For those who do not know about Royal Cohesive Network, we are a nonprofit organization that addresses the achievement gaps and emerging needs of people who live in Kansas City urban core. Through collective work and great intention to develop avenues for you to visualize and mobilize tools through various programs that we offer, such as entrepreneurship, literacy, gardening, cooking, and homeschool education support. Someone once told me that they view Royal Cohesive Network as an organization that takes conventional sayings and bring in phrases such as you can do whatever you set your mind to, or you can own your own business someday, from a redundant string of words to a vibrant statement of potential and progress. We hope to continue our grassroots initiatives here in Kansas City area and beyond. Please support us with a mission to assist youth in crafting their own narrative and have agency over their future. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's an African proverb that we stand by. Please note, views and opinions expressed in this series are those of the vocal participants that have joined us today and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, appointment, or company. Assumptions made in this analysis are reflective of the position of any entity other than the participants. And since we are critically thinking human beings, these views are always subject to change, be revised, and rethinking at any time. Please do not hold us to them in perpetuity. So let's dive into our goal of hosting a 4-part weekly discussion titled The Mask We Live In series. After a months of lockdown due to coronavirus, we've been all impacted by the waves of uncertainty. COVID has affected Black Americans who are 2 times more likely than whites to die of COVID-19. Now, some say outbreaks are all, but certain after protests over police killings of African Americans that were set off by the death of 46-year-old George Floyd a couple of weeks ago in Minneapolis. And now, once again, like hundreds and hundreds of years of systematic racism that African Americans have faced, we need to understand the very pivotal moment we are in. So the question I want the viewers to think about during the dialogue are, what side of history are you going to be on? The side that did nothing or the side that moved mountains? So I want to introduce our guest today. We'll start with Anthony Tanner. Anthony Tanner, please introduce yourself. And I know you are a community builder, beloved husband, father, brother, friend, creating life and sustainability. But please introduce yourself to the viewers today.
Yes, my name is Tanner, and I'm just here working on trying to build the best way I can in the environment that I grew up in to create self-sustainability with the community.
All right, and Miss Alexis Tanner, who is a teacher in the Kansas City School District and a chief blogger of My Organic Encounters. She is awesome in the community too. Please introduce yourself to the viewers today.
Hi, I'm Lexis Silvers Tanner. I'm from Kansas City. I'm just really hoping for change right now in our current climate.
All right, and then last but not least, our honorary guest today is Eric Stifold, historian and owner of Kansas City Tour Company. Please, Eric, let us know who you are and for the viewers that's watching today.
Well, my name is, as you said, Eric Stafford, born and raised here in Kansas City, Missouri. Went to Raytown South High School. I was born in 1969. So actually one generation removed from the civil rights movement. Been doing the Kansas City Tour Company for the past 11 years. So I do a Black History bus tour, Bebop and Beyond 18th and Vine walking tour, which is a down on 18th and Vine, so walking tour that showcases civil rights, migration, baseball. And then it's basically Kansas City's cultural identity comes from 18th and Vine. So we that tour showcases and highlights that as well. Also do civil rights tours on the streetcar line, Streetcar KC, civil rights tour, Streetcar KC at River City Mafia. And we're working together, developing lesson plans as well. A lot of different things going on. So I'm definitely happy to be here. And whatever I can to help.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. So as the new coronavirus was rapidly spreading in February and March 2020, many governments introduced stringent lockdown measures through a massive public effort. These countries have been successful at showing the pandemic, slowing it down. I would like to ask everybody in the room, how did you prepare and cope with the coronavirus news and the mayor's shutdown? And I want you to elaborate on how your lifestyle, your job, your business, and your mental state was impacted, good or bad. So we'll start with you, Lexis.
Yes, definitely. So one of the things is that really my company had no information until about 2 days prior to, well, they had the information, it just wasn't provided. And so I remember 2 days before them telling us, hey, this is going to be like your last day here until we don't know when, me feeling like a bunch of anxiety right before then and feeling like, well, what do you know in regards to my job security? Now, thankfully, my company was able to continue with our service. However, we did do it from home. We were still paid the entire time, so I'm very grateful for that. however, things moved so fast. So I didn't really feel like I had very much time to prepare. I did have time to go out and get some food. However, when you are at home all day, uh, it's really easy to it's really easy to eat food much quicker. So that was something new. That was something different. Um, I think in regards to coping with the coronavirus news, I really relied on connection through, you know, technology and also therapy. Therapy for me was something that was extremely important, and just really trying to dedicate my time to doing things that I really love and enjoy and care about. So I picked up cooking really well. I've painted some. I've just done a lot of things that make me enjoy my time. I've hosted brunches for friends since we've been released from lockdown. So really just trying to find ways to focus on the good in life has been really beneficial for me coping with COVID.
Okay, okay. So, Anthony, the question was, how did you prepare and cope for the coronavirus once you heard the news and the mayor's shutdown? Elaborate on how your lifestyle, job, business, and mental state was impacted, good or bad. And Anthony, will shoot it to you.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't much of any changes for real in my lifestyle because I'm in the house all the time or either working in my garden or something similar. I'm always working on a project. So for me, it wasn't a whole lot of an impact that it had other than I had finally ran out of toilet paper. So just finding a way to be able to get toilet tissue and stuff like that, you know, being able to get hand sanitizers. I'd already had bleach wipes and disinfectant spray. I went and bought some more, but you know, I'm an essential worker, so I always have to make sure that I practice social distancing while I'm out in public anyway. But when I heard about the lockdown, I felt that it was a very good thing because it actually slowed the city down just a little bit. It didn't slow it down tremendously, but it slowed it down enough, and I think that it helped with the murder rate. Actually, you know, not being so many people out there in the streets, but as a whole, looking at how it impacted people, I know that it sent a lot of people into depression and interacting with people when I was out grabbing groceries or anything else, trying to get more supplies. Because, like I said, I had supplies already, but just trying to make sure I keep enough 2 weeks ahead or a month ahead. I could see the stress, and but really, it was a lot of people out there looking out for each other. If somebody had for something, you know, you didn't have nothing, they knew that's what you was looking for. They offered you something. So it was for me, wasn't a lot of change personally. We happened to stay still, but it was an understanding of how easily your life could be changed. And if you ain't prepared for that life change, then you will pretty much suffer.
All right, Eric, we're going to shoot that question over to you. How did you cope with coronavirus and the city shutdown?
When I first got the news, well, I'm a teacher, or actually a assistant teacher at Genesis School, and or a professional, and so we had been I had been hearing about the coronavirus and everything, and it was getting louder and louder, and then remember they to us, and it was like, well, y'all been hearing about the coronavirus, so we're gonna have to shut the school. We were about to go on spring break, and uh, um, there was and there was 30 And then Friday was the last day. And the next week.
Eric, your sound is going in and out.
And so that day, and then, well, we're not going to have school.
So Eric, we're having a hard time hearing you right now. You probably have to refresh your page and come back in. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. So while he's fixing his mic and rebooting, I would like to say personally, it was pretty much a shock factor to me to know, and it was just like you found out, and it was just like boom, city shut down. Not long after that, so I had to really shut down my business. I am 13 years into being a nationally accredited massage therapist, and I've had my business for the past 9 years in the Westport area. And so shutting my doors down, stripping just stripping everything down, getting prepared to not seeing clients and facing the impact of not having an income and still being responsible to cover, my rent was a big change. On top of that, my husband being an essential worker, so we had to make sure we had different steps that we used of protecting him protecting himself while he's working and once he came home. Also, I have 4 children, 11, 5, 3, and 1. And so with that was a big adjustment because we were just coming off, we were just coming off a spring break. And now we're faced with how do we move forward with educating our children? Luckily for me, I have experience in homeschooling. So I was using some of the tools that I knew and the resources that I had in my homeschooling toolbox. So at that point, it was just me trying to support those who were not familiar with homeschooling and how to set up a schedule. At that time, I just wanted to take a deep breath and really not move too fast because I think everybody was frantic at that point. And so I didn't want that type of energy to go off on my kids too. And so our whole household is just shook. So we really took our steps and really got into really getting our schedule down packed, knowing what we were facing, and moving forward as a unit within our family. So Eric, I want to give you the question again. How did it impact you? Can you start over? I know you was having some sound difficulties, and so we were not hearing you all the way through.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So season, then man, this is really serious. And so the first thing I did was first of all, me and my family, we prayed, and I think the next week I may have fasted. And then I started to immediately build my immune system up. And then just try to educate myself. And I just got consumed with it and it just started. Oh my goodness, it was like eating me up. Self debate and stuff. And I was like, man, this is really unhealthy. And I've stepped back from that now, and so I don't, you know, you know, there, you know, we walk. This is an evil earth that we have that we live on, and good and evil, and these forces have always been here. And you know, you have to be careful. You have to be critical. You have to cross reference and just. And so that's what I've always tried to live by. And you know, as far as the police, you know, that's Black people in America. Since, you know, and you know, with and its origins and everything, generation, there, nothing. You know, slavery, they had to rebuild the economy. Why time did the Amendment it manifested itself through the criminal justice system. The 14th protects matter forced. And so, and then the 15th Amendment was the right to vote. And if you're a convicted felon, you no longer have the right to vote. Now you can get your vote restored once you are no longer on probation or parole. So really, not much has changed. And when they say the 1% own 99% of the wealth, they actually do. I mean, how could an NFL owner pay millions dollars? Okay, one person, and it's 26, 32 NFL teams, you know, whatever. I'll pay out. Because the media says one thing or tells you what to mean that you have to believe it. So, Prince, you have to be a seeker of, you know, everybody is going to have varying views.
So Eric, I'm gonna cut you off. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on, but your voice, your mic is echoing, and we kind of are in and out. And you probably can't hear me right now. Okay, so moving forward, as lockdown measures begin to relax in countries that are still battling the coronavirus, experts predict the possibilities of a second wave of infections. A second wave could rapidly pick up in the moment as people increasingly begin to interact with those around them. Professor of mathematics and statistics has illustrated what a second wave could look like, taking into account certain scenarios and social responses. And our response right now at Every Cohesive Network includes distributing masks to organizations that are aiding in the process to prevent the spread of COVID-19 or working on the front line of protesting here in Kansas City. We're giving away 100 3-layered masks and hand sanitizer that is CDC recommended today for the broadcast today. So every week we'll be giving away 100 3-layered masks plus hand sanitizer that is CDC recommended. For many of us, the unrest, anxiety, and emotion of the event that happened a couple of weeks ago are not solely about just the George Floyd case. It's so many others experiencing this. Plus, our new normal of COVID-19, it has resulted in a much deeper stemming from the impacts of systematic racism. In times of crisis and mental anguish, sometimes just listening to can help people manage those painful emotions. It's a time for collective welling that we all express together. I want to appoint this time to Eric to give a little bit of history on how the police force was formed. And hopefully, Mr. Eric, we can hear you. But anytime, I'll let you know if your mic is going in and out. So again, we're going to point this time to Eric, and he can give us a brief history of how the police force was formed.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me, Eric?
What did you say?
So we're asking you to give us your historic facts of how the police force was formed here in Kansas City. Can you hear me, Eric?
I heard you say something about the history. I'm gonna type in to see.
Okay, so as he's giving more, getting his sound together, I want to ask Anthony and Alexis, what were your initial emotions that you had when you found out about the death of George Floyd? And Anthony, I'll go to you.
For me, I was disgusted. You know, I watched videos of people being shot to death from the police by them saying that they were in fear of their life, that somebody was reaching for a gun. Oh, they thought they saw a gun. But I had only briefly watched it. So the impact didn't hit me until last week because I go through a lot of stress when I see stuff like that, because I think that the protesting should have been happened, but not so much just the protesting, the wanting results should have been happened. You know, like right now, I'm not sure of what people are really want out of this protesting and rioting that's going on, but it took for me to actually, somebody sent, I downloaded Messenger finally, and somebody sent me the video, and I watched the video of this man pretty much already deceased on the ground, and another officer coming up, checking his pulse while this cop had his knee on the back of this man's neck and he's handcuffed, and checked his pulse, walked away, got the gurney, brought the gurney back, checked his pulse again, and then they flopped him around like he was nothing, like his life never even mattered. But the cop kept his neck on his knee on his neck even after he was deceased. And I think that it was more than anything, they trained the police officers: if you shoot somebody, you kill them. So you unload your magazine, center mass. And so what I think the guy was doing was actually making sure that he was dead so there could be no case filed, you know. But luckily we had people that were there that were videoing them. And not only one person, we had a few people that actually videoed
and caught these cops that were that came out of an ambulance, that came out of a paramedic vehicle. So for me, I think it was just a slap in the face, and it was disgusting. For these people to not have any regard for human life, let alone these are people that are destroying us as black men. They create some type of fear in a lot of people. I can't live in that fear. I've been dealing with the police for a long time. I've done had a few of them want to try and kill me. But with me understanding that, man, we made from the same thing. Just like you got something to protect yourself with, I got something to protect myself with. So I can't bow down to them. But it kind of sent me into a place to where I have to go inside a little bit deeper, because I can't actually go to a protest or anything like that. I can't go down here and be around all this energy and stuff that people are putting out there, because if I feel like we're being attacked, then I'm going to take it as it's a threat on my life, and it's a threat on everybody's life around me. And I know how I am. I'm a real serious person. So I'm still kind of just trying to deal with the results of it all. It was horrible. And I'm glad that those people did everything that they've been doing. I'm glad that they're strong enough to go out there and fight on the front line. But I think that sometimes we're influenced by other people. European people influence us a lot, so they'll show that they're rowdy and they want to do this different stuff, because all protests and stuff with them usually is with cars being flipped over, burnt up, and everything else. And I think that we had people infiltrate our structure, but I think it was needed for them to infiltrate it. I think it was needed that all the anger and the frustration is being showed now, so that people know that right now it's just buildings and stuff getting burnt up. But if you keep doing what you're doing, soon enough life is going to be taken for life. And then it'll be a total full out, I don't want to say war, because that's not something that you should have inside your own country, but it will be a major conflict between our authorities and our citizens, because our citizens do not and are not going to accept being beaten, being maced constantly, having our women beaten, our children killed for playing with toy guns, different stuff, or saying that somebody stole a pack of cigars. It just doesn't make sense. Our life is much more valuable than that. And yeah, I know I took a little bit of time, but I just had to get that off of my chest, because our life is valuable. And us as a people need to stay together and not just let this be the end of the momentum.
All right, Lexus, questions to you. What was your reaction when you first heard about George Floyd?
So I think it was maybe like a week or two before the situation happened with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery's death was like it had gone viral. And so the thing is, like, when it was presented, many people didn't know that it actually happened in February. And so honestly, something that I found, this isn't new, right? So this has happened before. These things have gone viral before. People have protested for days before. However, I find myself, it gives me anxiety, honestly. So I try my best not to watch the videos. I try my best not to see the actual encounters. And it's not because I don't want to be educated about it. I can read that. I don't need to watch it. Watching it is painful. I have 3 Black brothers myself, with an adopted brother also, and they come in every shade. But I also have a family, that's Black. So when I found out, I just seen like the briefing, right? I just seen the picture of the cop, and then eventually somebody had shortened the video down to like maybe like 20 seconds, something that could fit in a little clip that like played in their story. And so I seen it, and I think my initial reaction was anger, frustration, feeling like people are not acting as if we are all God's children. I just really felt angry because I think for me, what doesn't make sense to me is what about our skin gives us a death sentence, right? What about a Black person makes you fearful of them just because of the color of their skin? Is it that you think they're superior than you? Because the thing is, people love to take the things that embody Black people, but yet they hate who we are, which is so ironic because typically imitation means that you're like, that's a form of you complimenting me. So I think, it's very confusing when you see things like this, and you see that this has been happening for so many years. And so I think that my initial reaction was, will George Floyd's death just be another viral phenomenon? I pray that it's not. I think that what's different right now is that because of Corona and because of the fact that we are locked down and most people are still working from home, people have time. They have time to view these things all day. They have time to not forget about what is going on. And for me, I am so thankful for that, because the thing is, I want you to be uncomfortable in this. I want everywhere you go, you to see this. I want you to hear about this. And the reason being is because I'm a Black woman. I don't get to take my skin off, right? I don't get to step out of my skin so that you don't treat me in an unfavorable way. I need you to be uncomfortable. And because people are home right now, it's on their news. It's even on their kids' games. It's, people are having really important conversations. But ultimately, I seen a video the other day and I reposted it. And at the end, and it was a Black woman, and she was speaking about the fact that people are angry about Black people destroying property. But the thing is, you all are destroying lives, right? George Floyd's daughter is going to grow up without him. George Floyd's family is going to grow up without him. I think what's really disgusting is the fact that he called for his mother that died 2 years ago, and this man, a despicable man, because I'm still a Christian woman, I'm not going to call him names, but he's a despicable man. But he kept his knee. He kept his knee on George Floyd, and I think that's really painful to see. That's really painful to have to talk to about with your kids. Ultimately, at the end of the video, the Black woman said, "You should be thankful that Black people just want equality and not revenge." And that's true. We have never wanted just revenge. We don't take these times to go and just wrongfully kill white people or police officers. That's not who we are. That's not what we want. Ultimately, we want to be treated fairly. We want justice. And we want situations like this never to happen again, because it's disgusting. Thank you.
Thank you, Lexus. For me, what I heard about George Floyd, I knew immediately I could not watch the video. I refused to have that imagery played in my subconscious, because words and photos was just enough for me. I wasn't surprised, but I tried to avoid it at first, and the more I seen it, it was like an uncontrollable rage inside, because here I am creating, I embody my children to be the best they can and shine within their community and uplifting each other in their community. Um, so knowing that can be ripped away from me at any point of time because of a misunderstanding sent me into, I didn't even know that it was affecting me so much that it was. And I became mute and suppressed within myself. I wanted to hide it from my children for as long as I could because I couldn't wrap the words around to formally tell them what was going on, as well as, being in the midst of the protest. My business is in the Westport area, so Westport and Plaza is so close together. They were having streets blocked off, sirens. You would hear, you would see protesters walking to the area, and it just kept eating at me and eating at me. So it was hard. It's been hard. I don't like to talk about it with anyone outside of who I normally have these conversations with, and that's okay. I share what I share, and I want for all of us to well together. I think we've already done that, and I think we still are. So, anybody else has anything else they want to say about? We explored the mental aspect of how COVID hit our homes and the steps we take to channel revolutionary feelings and emotions into tangible actions, steps for change beyond the point of protest. That's when we need to focus on how do we go a step further other than protesting. In the past, they took it a step further through economic building. So next week, when you tune in Sunday, June 14th, as we talked about we'll talk about the economic hardships that COVID has impacted each family from the pandemic. And we will talk about strategic economic planning in the Black community. That's something that we focus on within the Royal Cohesive Network with the youth entrepreneurs that we have been lucky to build with. It will be the same time next week, 9 a.m., same platform. Please like, share, get involved, and submit a name of organizations who are aiding in the process to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and are working on the front line of the protesting here in Kansas City. We would like to donate 100 3-layered masks and hand sanitizer that is CDC recommended this week from your submissions. So please submit those organizations that's on the front line. We would like to donate that. And every week we will be donating at least 100 masks to those organizations. Comment below or email us at royalnetworkkc@gmail.com. Royal is with the E, ROYALE. networkkc@gmail.com. If you're interested in getting a closer look into the network, please visit our website at royalnetwork.org. Thank you, Anthony, Lexis, and Eric. Eric, historian, owner of Kansas City Tour Company, was having tech issues, so we didn't get to dive deep into some of the things that he wanted to bring into this discussion today, but we'll try again to bring him on. But thank you, Lexis. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Eric, for sharing your thoughts on these topics today. Please give us some information on how people can follow you. What is your plan moving forward in this next week? And I'll start with you, Lexis.
Yes. I think in this week moving forward, Friday, I started my day with talking to my therapist. And so I think that really finding out what way it is that you can impact our communities, whether that's buying Black, whether that's taking your money to Black banks, whether that is you as a person that's not of color having tough conversations with your family, your friends, the people that are around you, and you no longer laughing at racist jokes. And really, there's no need for the quote, but we know exactly what it is. And so I think that's my steps for this week. I think those are the steps that I would point other people into also. But also remember to keep God first, or whatever it is that your belief is. Keep that at the center of who you are, so that you understand that things are not just about individuals, but we as a people all together. Also, you can find me on Facebook by checking me out on Flexin Kitchen. Also on Instagram, you can find me at Flexin Kitchen, and you can also find me. My blog is My Organic Encounters on Facebook, and it's also My Organic Encounters on Instagram. So yeah, check it out. Thank you all so much.
All right. Anthony, you want to drop us some information?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Comedic Sunrise Yoga KC, or on Facebook at Community Builders Kansas City. And going into this next week, I know today I want to take the time and possibly go and just ride through the area of the plaza and see the demonstration that's being given, and kind of take it in from the outside to be able to understand exactly what's going on, because I have not went in that area, period. And so I have to deal with that anxiety, because I am an activist in our community. Started off with Stop the Killing KC. So one thing that I have to know is that I still have to be on the front line, because I could be called in at any time to go out and deal with situations, that are impacting our community in a harmful way. But going into this next week, I really want everybody to come here, baby girl. Come here. Come here. I really want everybody to focus on what it is that you want to see come out of the platform that we are on right now, because this is a platform, and it is being understood by police officers all over America and all over the world right now that people are not going to keep on taking it. You had a cop, I don't know exactly what state he was in, but he said he was sitting back and he seen the entourage of people walking up to the location where they were sitting at, and they were about to clash. And this guy, he took his helmet off because he seen what was about to happen. And he said it honestly. He said, we were scared. He said, I'm not going to lie about that. He said, but I could see it in the people's eyes. They were scared and didn't know exactly what they wanted to do, but they knew they was going to do something. And I knew they was going to do something. So I went and I grabbed the person that was in the front, and I just hugged him. And I didn't let him go. And that for me lets me know that just like they put fear in people's hearts because they carry those pistols, they also have fear in their heart because they have to wear that badge, and they know that every day they leave their house, they might not make it home because they might run into a monster. Well, I ain't gonna say a monster. They might run into somebody that's really about their business, and they gonna take that. Not everybody's gonna take it. So during this next week, I want y'all to think about what outcome do you want to see. Are you steady going to continue to support these businesses that wouldn't protect your life? Can you go into that shop and use it as a safe haven if somebody's after you, if the police are trying to brutalize you? Can you walk through their doors and say, please keep me safe? Is this going to be a safe place for Black people? I know they always say that white lives matter too. Yeah, white lives matter. But at the same time, the white lie has a privilege already. And we steady have people trying to steal from us everything that we create. Want to replicate, want to duplicate, whatever you want to call it. They want to imitate They want to be who we are as a people because they understand and they love our talents. They know the power that we have. But at the same time, we allow them to steal it away. So it's just like the devil robbing you of your joy. You know, you have to stay focused and you got to know what you're going to do because this economic power that we have, it can truly be used. And if those same white counterparts that are out here standing next to us will put those same efforts in and stop supporting these businesses and stop spending money until things are situated, man, I tell you what, great things can happen, but you have to know what you want to be as your outcome. For me, I want to see businesses supporting our communities that they are inside of. I want to see them out working in our community, hiring people to come around and help them out so that they can put money back into our community, not taking everything out and sending it wherever they're going to send it to or taking it to their neighborhoods and their communities. And I want to see Black people. I'm not talking about white people. I'm saying I want to see Black people start putting money into the organizations in your community that are really doing things and stop trying to have a face with somebody else and sending it to these big organizations that already have all the supporters that they need, really, but they just want more. You have a lot of grassroots organizations in our community or in your community, your personal community, that you can support and start a snowball effect to where your friends and your family are understanding that, hey, look, I don't always have to do something for the show. I don't have to put money in this organization or this community, because if it's not directly impacting your community, you're still taking your money, your Black dollar, and you're taking it out of rotation. Your Black dollar needs to be in rotation in our communities. Peace.
All right, well said. Well said. Well, again, join us next Sunday, same time, same platform, and hopefully the same people that you see, and plus a guest. Next week, we'll be talking about economic strategy of building our community and supporting one another in our businesses. So if you want to have more dialogue, please email us at royalnetworkkc@gmail.com. Please make sure you visit our website and see the incredible things that we are doing and the youth are doing in the journey of entrepreneurship. And that is www.royalnetwork.org. Until next time, please share, go to our Facebook event page, and click interested in going on all 4 series. So I hope we started a dialogue today that ignites you to think about the things that we talked about today. And we hope, what we said was impactful. So again, before we started, we wanted to ask you, what side of history are you going to be on? The side that did nothing or the side that moved mountains? And those mountains don't have to be big mountains. They could be little things. You can go out and you can pass out water or food or snacks to protesters. Or you can volunteer your time with someone that's on the front line. Help prevent spreading COVID, washing your hands, wearing a mask, protecting yourself, and stay safe. So my name is Toba Tanner. I am the co-founder of Royal Cohesive Network. And until next time, stay safe, family, and we'll see you again. See ya. Thank you.